and then we were catching the kids, and they're yelling, screaming, little kids, early teenagers, probably from ages 9 to 14.
That's what we understand, that this school bus was carrying a youth program that was coming back from a field trip.
Maybe he's going to get medical attention now.
Thank you, Rod.
Now, Rod, are you still with us?
Gary.
Oh, and less than probably a quarter mile from the bridge, and it looks exactly like those scenes that we saw in the main bridge collapse. There is smoke and some burning. Something is burning over there, and people are still running from underneath. It's just pandemonium.
All right, Rod, thanks very much. And that is really our first eyewitness account of someone in a vehicle who actually was in the collapse. Again, Gary, the witness, the person talking to Rod, says he helped bring kids out of that school bus that we see there on the right side of your screen. 8 to 14-year-olds, according to Gary, a number of them. We know they were coming back from a field trip, a youth program. You can see the emergency door flung open in the back. The man Rod was talking to, Gary, says they were literally tossing and catching kids to get them off the bridge. We're going to try to work on getting more information about exactly where those kids are and what kind of condition they are in. One last thing. The hospitals in the Twin Cities all have emergency plans. They all have triage plans. Right now, I would guess, no confirmation, but I would guess those plans are in full swing because you have to imagine they're expecting multiple casualties from this disaster.
We've had reports from the scene, from our reporters on the scene, that say that there is probably a minimum of 30, as many as 50 cars in the water. Also, Gary, our eyewitness that Rod Simons just interviewed, confirmed what we saw, what appeared to be the case, that the bridge had collapsed on both ends, basically just fell in the middle, and of course causing multiple ruptures along the way. Now, is Leah McLean still in the newsroom? Because Leah's been tracking the history of this bridge, built in '67, some of the safety records. Leah, again, please bring us up to date.
Cindy, again, we're digging into just some of the history of this bridge. More from MnDOT as well. There was some work going on in this bridge. They claim it's for bridge repair and pavement rehabilitation. Now, specifically what that means about what they were doing to the bridge, we're still looking into the details of what kind of work was going on. And again, a few other facts about this bridge. This is Highway 35W. It crosses over the Mississippi River. It's 64 feet above the water. We just heard from a man who said that he fell into the river. We're seeing that it is 64 feet above the river. Again, it was built in 1967, and the claim to fame was that it has a single, almost 500-foot long steel arch to avoid putting any piers into the water below. So this bridge just goes right over the river, nothing touching on the bottom. And again, we're seeing traffic flow, a daily traffic flow. Nearly 200,000 cars pass over this bridge every day. We're not getting any specifics yet on how many cars were on the bridge at the time that it collapsed, but as everybody knows who travels through the metro, this is a heavily used stretch of roadway in the metro. And again, this bridge about 64 feet above the water, and we see all those cars that have landed in the water now. John and Cindy, we're going to continue to dig for more information. We're trying to get a hold of a structural engineer to talk to that person about how something like this. Again,
thanks, Leah. We have a request from a number of cell phone companies in the Twin Cities right now, asking people to not make unnecessary cell phone calls right now. Only make cell phone calls that are absolutely necessary. This is how bad the situation is, folks. The cell phone companies want to keep the lines open. The system is being overloaded with calls. One would assume emergency calls, perhaps people at the scene calling to say they're okay. Right now, cell phone companies in the Twin Cities are asking that you not make any unnecessary cell phone calls.
And as we go on into the evening, the scene gets eerier and eerier. It appears that the fires have been extinguished, at least in part, and the sun is setting and is getting gray out there. Let's go to Chopper Ken to get a few more pieces of information. Ken?
Well, Cindy, I'll give you an update, at least some good news. Some of the people in that center section in the river have been rescued by watercraft and taken over to the shoreline. We've been looking up the river. We're seeing additional rescue boats streaming downriver to get through the lock and dam and assist. Now, the fire that was on the south side is, for the most part, out. But we can see that there was more than just simply one truck and a car involved. It looks like 3 cars and 1 truck. And I mean, the scene away from the bridge is flashing lights, flashing lights from patrol cars streaming into the area from all directions. Cindy?
And Ken, you mentioned there that what was happening again beneath the center section of the bridge. One little glimmer of hope there. Ken?
Say again, Cindy?
You are looking over the center section of the bridge there and at some of the rescue efforts that are going on?
Yes. There's at least 3 rescue watercraft now. They're in the center section of the bridge. They are removing people, at least the people that are able to get out under their own power onto the boats and over to the shoreline. One of the things that we haven't even touched on is the fact that what might possibly be under this bridge. Were there additional boats that maybe were passing underneath, or cars that fell off the bridge and are underneath as well? We've noticed that some rescue workers are beginning to take a look under the superstructure of the bridge to see who or what might be trapped underneath there as well. Cindy?
Yeah, we had a report from Leah McLean in the newsroom that this is a span that's 64 feet above the water. There are no piers in the water. This is a single sheet of steel, and that appears to be what happened, that the single sheet somehow...
I think, I'm not exactly sure because I'm not a structural engineer, but I think they call that the freestanding section of the bridge, where the supports are on both sides of the shoreline. That's what holds the whole thing up. And the center section is simply freestanding.
All right, Ken, thanks a lot. Let's bring you up to date, and then we're going to talk to someone who just stopped short of the bridge before it collapsed. We're estimating now 50-plus cars, vehicles involved in this. We were told by a witness who was on the bridge when it collapsed there was bumper-to-bumper traffic in one direction going about 10 miles an hour. The school bus we've been showing you, we are told kids between 8 and 14 years old, based on our witness's observation, kids were rescued off of that school bus. This bridge was 64 feet above the water in the Mississippi River, built in 1967, and it has collapsed. Brianne Stately, are you with us right now?
Yes.
I'm glad you are, and I'm glad you're okay. Again, people are tuning in, just realizing what has happened. I don't want to take you back through some bumpy memories, but please, again, tell us what you saw.
We were coming in from Duluth, and we were behind the school bus and the blue minivan. My mom is a pastoral minister, and she decided to not go on the bridge because of the traffic. So we turned off on 4th Street and University. And we heard, my mom heard rumbling, and you could feel like a shaking. My mom screamed, and I looked at her, and then she said, "Look at the bridge." And by then we were on the 10th Street Bridge next to 35, and I looked over and I could see that blue, I didn't see the school bus go in, but my mom did. But I could see the minivan sliding sideways down the slope, and I saw it stop, and my mom went straight home, and my little brother and I came back. We don't live that far. We came back, and when I saw that minivan, I was really happy.
So because of a turn that you took or an exit that you made, you weren't in a position to possibly be seriously hurt.
We have to go right now. They said this.
Okay.
We have to get out from under the bridge for our own safety.
Okay, well, you take care, and thank you very much for helping us. And you tell your mom to take care too, because it's been a horrible thing to see.
I will.
That's Brianne Stately, who's been kind of walking us through what happened as best she could, and she did a wonderful job. Colleen Mahoney, one of our reporters, is on the scene right now. She's on the telephone with us. Colleen, what are you seeing right now?
Well, actually, John, I'm at the hospital here
Okay.
with several ambulances
Are
coming
you at Hennepin County
in.
Medical Center?
Yes, we
Okay.
are at Hennepin County. We are seeing several people being brought in. They're being loaded off on stretchers. They have confirmed for us that they're dealing, obviously, with multiple injuries, some critical, some non-life-threatening. Of course, a lot of activity. The staff here very, very uptight. They are dealing with a crisis situation, and they know it. Just being downtown, all you can hear down here are sirens as resources are being thrown at this catastrophe. But again, what we're seeing here at the hospital, the ambulances are arriving. They are unloading patients who are critical, patients who are in neck braces and dealing with non-life-threatening injuries.
Colleen,
and that is what we have here.
Is there any activity outside the hospital